Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody.
A lot of you all are here. I'm so excited. Welcome to our chat. Today we have a super special chat. And you know, we couldn't do this chat without the oh so fabulous Kinky Sweat, aka Miss Sweat, if you're nasty. And my girl, GlamGirlChelsea.
How are y'all?
Yes, how are you all? I'm so excited.
Doing good, doing good.
Excited.
Yes. So you all already know by the title that we have an extra special guest. The man behind the emails. You know, the one that
Right.
that you did. Mr. Nils Johnson, the CEO and co-founder of Beautylish. So if everyone could put your hands together and give him a warm welcome, I am going to add him in our chats. Hi,
hey guys.
Hi, Neil.
Hi,
How's it
Neil.
going, everyone?
Hi, how's everybody doing? I need to log in so I can see the chat myself.
I got two devices going here, friends.
I know. I'm
like a little command center.
Yes. So I can just be acquainted.
No.
How are you, Niels?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing
Good.
Good to
Glad
be
to
here.
have you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today on our chat.
For sure. Thanks
Have
for
you
having
ever
me.
done something like this before?
No, this is the first one, just for you, Kelsee.
Yes!
The loyal Beautylish.
Yes, Beautylish lovers in the house.
Yes.
Yes, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
You
you.
guys saw that Nils is the co-founder and CEO of Beautylish. So Nils, I want to give you just a quick moment to introduce yourself for anybody who may not know who you are and may not know about Beautylish, even though I think most of us do. But I'll give you a second just to introduce yourself and get acquainted.
Great. So I'm a co-founder of Beautylish. We started Beautylish in 2010. I have two other co-founders, Vu and Samir, who are behind the scenes engineers. They make our operations run. Samir built our whole website and everything that makes a site work. And as I said, we started late 2010. We launched our Beautylish boutiques in 2013, maybe. And, you know, we're honored to be here today with you guys.
Oh, it is an honor.
Before we get started, I'm going to take off my Good Molecules eye patches. Just one second.
Oh,
I just gotta get my-
let me tell you, those
I just
eye
gotta get-
patches,
I just got to get the caffeine eye patch off. For just a second,
the
because
eye patches sit
you know.
right here because they're so good.
just hydrate.
Looking energized there,
I just-
Niels.
Yes.
Energized and hydrated.
Yes, energized and hydrated.
So exciting. I love a good eye patch, especially when I first wake up. I have a refrigerator that I keep them in. And I'm just like, I've been using eye cream since I was 10. So I'm like, eye patch, eye cream.
10 years old, Kelsee,
I'm
really?
very serious.
Ahead of the
old
game,
Kelsee.
already at 10.
Yes,
Already.
ready. I was ready. So
I'm making up for lost time. So I'm
all good.
midday. It's always a good time for an eye patch.
It's all good. So, okay, let's go ahead and get into our questions. I know you all have a lot of questions that you want to ask, but on our community board and on Instagram, we asked you all to ask Neil some questions. And so we took all of you all's questions that you all had to know and we compiled them. And so for right now, we're going to ask Neil some questions. And then after we ask all of our questions, then we'll open up the floor and let you guys answer some questions or ask some questions that you may want to know. So the first question is the most asked question. And before I ask this question, I just want to remind everybody that we are all here to love on Nils, and we're having an open conversation. And I want everybody to just be respectful, even though I know that you are. I just want to add a gentle reminder. So with that being said, the first.
Kelsee, it's true. I am single. And I'll just get to the answer right now. I know everybody's asking. I'm trying to bring it.
Everybody needs to know that. That is the number one question that people were
If that wasn't number one,
Yes.
what does the survey
What's
say?
the number?
Show me the board.
Yes, that's what people really came here for. So now
Okay,
that y'all know,
tell me the real number one
Really?
question.
Okay, you ready, Nils? Okay, so the first question is, why does Beautylish continue to sell Jeffree Star cosmetics despite the owner's numerous controversies that he has been involved in?
Okay, appreciate that question. And I know this will be unsatisfactory to some. Jeffree definitely is more visible in the community, but there's tremendous demand for his products from all customers, all types of customers, including Black creators and people just internationally. So he makes products that customers love. He's one of our top selling brands. And, you know, in spite of what people might think is controversy, he just makes great products. And, you know, he's been a good partner for us. We know that we get this question sometimes. And I think with Jeffree, the reality is if you look at brands and we talk about like inclusivity, he has a wide shade range with his concealers, super inclusive. He's been very proactive and always being inclusive in his campaigns. And I think probably anyone can go back and look at that. And just with everything even happening now, he's been very outspoken as well. So, you know, we like to stay focused on kind of like where we are today. Huge love from the community for his products. And he's doing a lot to be inclusive and give back to the community as well.
Thank you for that answer, Nils.
Okay, next question. So will you incorporate more Black-owned beauty brands, or how will that occur? For us, we came up with just a few brands that we've all been kind of known about. We have AJ Crimson, Pat McGrath, and Uma Beauty. And did you participate in the Pull Up or Shut Up challenge?
Okay, I'll start just on Black-owned brands. Pat, call me. Just call me. Phone's not ringing from you, girl. Please call me. I did meet Pat McGrath once, I'm happy to say. And no, she doesn't reach back out. When we onboard brands on Beautylish, we typically don't think of it as like, who is the owner necessarily, but like, where's the fit in our assortment? And I think we definitely have room to improve our assortment. And I think some of those improvements will come from sourcing within the Black-owned brand community. But we're going to approach that with the lens of like, where are we lacking? So that could be, for example, shade range for foundations, hair products, different skin products, things that we think can specifically address customer needs that we're just like missing the mark on right now. So we do have plans to do that. And those were great names that you mentioned, and all great makeup artists as well. So that definitely is in the cards. And if anyone has suggestions, my email, since you mentioned my emails before, Nils at Beautylish, we'd love to hear, you know, what suggestions people really want to see. So we're open to always getting feedback. But when we approach building our assortment, it really is looking at like, where are we missing the mark in terms of assortment gaps? And we're excited about being able to make some of those ads coming from the community, for sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, is it my turn, fans? Friends.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Second part of your question before, not to interrupt.
Oh, yes. Pull up and shut up.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Totally forgot about that
can
one.
you put up the captions?
It doesn't let me on the live chat. Sorry.
Okay.
So Pull Up or Shut Up, we thought was a really interesting challenge for businesses to be able to participate in. We did participate and shared our numbers. And overall throughout the company, we're over 10% Black employee level. And we kind of tried to be more specific when we broke it out. So we had employee level, like company-wide, we had leadership level. Beautylish is a fairly flat organization, meaning we don't have lots of like VPs, directors, senior VPs. As you get into larger companies, they'll tend to have more of those levels. In our company, it's fairly flat. Like there can be leaders in a team, but it's not so much traditional structure that you would see in a larger company. And we do have over 10% representation across the company. We're a really diverse company. A lot of questions were asked when we were featured on the Pull Up or Shut Up page about like, what is the POC representation? And we're in San Francisco Bay Area. So to give you an idea, like in San Francisco, specifically, There's a large Asian community. And so it's kind of a split for us between Asian and Latino in the POC community. Another interesting thing that I was mentioning to Kelsee earlier is just understanding, I saw some of the comments on the Pull Up or Shut Up page and people expressing question about like, well, what about having Black leadership at a board level or an executive level? In Beautylish, like we are a smaller company, which people may or may not realize, but on an executive level in the company, there's 5 executives. One of those is my co-founder that runs technology, one runs operations and finance, and there's myself, which is like merchandising and marketing. The other 2 executive positions we have are customer experience and in finance. Both of those are occupied by POC team members, I guess. And then on a board level, we have 5 board members, 2 of those positions. So the way a board works is, when you start your company, you have a board of directors, right? And then in Beautylish, it's occupied by the founders of the company. And then as we raise money to grow the company, typically what will happen is a larger investor from the outside will come in and say, hey, for part of me putting this money in, I want to be able to have voting control to protect my investment. And that's how a board is formed when a company starts. And so when we started Beautylish, it was myself and my co-founders. Then you start raising this outside capital. And our first board member that we have is a Caucasian board member that represented our first large institutional investor. And then our other board member is a female board member, and she's actually Indian background. And both of those positions came in through, investments in the company. So at a board level, at a smaller company, it's more about, again, like protecting your investment, helping guide the direction of the company. As we grow and get larger, we may increase the size of that board. And that's where you start looking at like, okay, we have people representing the investors. What are other points of view that we need to bring in at a board level? And I think that is a great question that's been raised by the community. Like, well, how are our voices being heard? And one of the most thoughtful questions that I had seen on someone's Instagram post is they said, who is helping you make decisions around issues for the Black community or POC community? And that's something that, for us is a point of discussion. Certainly in Beautylish, it's like we're 60%, like Caucasian is like 17% of our entire company. I'm one of the minorities in the company, like percentage wise. So we do have good representation and diversity, but I think when it comes to some of these specific topics, that's where we'll be looking to, get some expertise potentially. It may not be at a board level, however, because they don't need to have, we're not trying to give control of like the direction of our company, but it would be more in response to how we think about some of these issues. Does that make sense a little bit?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
All righty. Well, thank you, Nils, for that. Good Molecules has been very inclusive with their PR send to influencers of all ethnic backgrounds. And Good Molecules is I'm so sorry about this, Sun Bam. It's the golden hour, okay? And Good Molecules
golden, girl. Golden.
I know.
It is.
The light came in on time.
Really, I mean,
Right.
I'm in a dark corner.
Good Molecules.
It is a skincare brand, and just if you guys are not aware of Good Molecules, will Beautylish add more people of color, especially of deeper complexions, to their PR roster for the other brands sold on your website?
Great question. So Good Molecules in the company, we kind of run like its own team and its own PR strategy. Some of the benefits we have with that is a lower cost of goods. Like the products cost us less because we're manufacturing those. For example, let's say like Tom Ford is one of our brand partners, or another partner that's not manufactured by us. Our cost is just higher, and many times those brands manage their own PR efforts. And so with Good Molecules, we've tried to be really inclusive across all communities because we think influence can come from a number of places. And I know Kelsee, I think you received Good Molecules PR, right?
Yes.
For a while now. We look for people with Good Molecules who we think are like passionate about product and really taking time to understand product, make great content, and that take time to share and inform with their audience. And I'd spoken with Kelsee previously about this. I know there's one sensitivity just within the influencer community around like the size of the influencer, because it's become such a disparity. Like there's almost like the celebrity size influencer level of people that might have 500,000, a million, 2 million, 5 or 10 million followers, right?
Right.
And then there's followers that might have 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. We don't think of the value with Good Molecules of that person with 1,000 any different than the person that has a larger media reach. And in many times, our experience has been influencers like Kelsee, who's a makeup artist and goes really deep into products, can actually be just as valuable as more valuable than someone that just might have larger reach, but not as engaged with their audience. So we really believe in being able to go into the micro-influencer community and being diverse in our PR with Good Molecules. With Beautylish, our efforts on PR have been a little more restrained, just from the standpoint of the products are super expensive for us, so we can't send that many out. And many times the brands manage their own PR efforts. And I was telling Kelsee, like, there have been times when brands will say, hey, we want to give you some palettes or brushes or some type of product to send out, and we can choose who to send that product to. But it's a lot more limited in terms of what we can do. And so we do want to be able to look in this community to expand our list. But overall, you just won't see us growing a lot of PR for Beautylish per se, because it's not something that we can control, and it's very expensive for us as well. Yeah.
And I to understand Beautylish, the third party, and we were really, for instance, I was lucky enough at one point to receive a Natasha Denona palette from them, right?
Yep.
But it's only if it's available.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same as the brand sending from their warehouse.
Right.
So it all, in regards to third party, is a little unpredictable. And I get it if you guys see PR sometimes and don't see PR sometimes, and then you're like, well, where's the PR? Again, it really all depends on what's available for them to send.
When you received Natasha, was that kind of like early days when Natasha was just getting launched, or when?
I think, well, it was the Sunrise palette.
Yep.
And that was a whole thing because it leaked accidentally.
Yeah.
We
got some room for improvement on that one.
Again, right. And I think at the time, the person who was taking care of PR was nice enough to send it to me.
Yep.
But I ended up buying the Love palette when that launched. So I understand now why it is the way it is in regards to other brands and not Good Molecules. Good Molecules is definitely more consistent in mailing out, just because I think it's different operations.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then
We control it.
are their own entity, and they can pick who they want for their PR.
That's right. One thing that happens with those, like Natasha initially was exclusive on Beautylish for about a year. And in that case, one of the reasons we were able to have Natasha Denona exclusively on Beautylish is we were putting in some of the groundwork with her to help promote and build the brand awareness, right? Like sending out to influencers. We did the iMatch show. We did the makeup show in New York. We controlled like the launch dates, and we were able to get things. Now Natasha is more widely available. The other San Francisco retailer, I can't remember their name, but they're the black and white logos. Natasha sold there too, and sometimes there'll be like different launch timings when they have it. It's hard for us because even when we receive the product, people don't understand. Sometimes we're not getting the product until, the day before the launch, for example. So we have no PR opportunity. So it is really a mixed bag. And, I appreciate you understanding, because I think what's hard is it's all about managing expectations, right? Like, you want to know, like, hey, I got this. And I think, Kelsee, you had received something from us in the past, like Anastasia or, another third-party brand. And then when you don't get it, you're like, well, am I not getting it? Is it me?
Yeah.
Or do they not send PR, or what's going on? And that's been a little tricky for us to communicate, because the situations have kind of varied by brand and also timing of launch. But generally speaking, for Beautylish, we don't have a lot of, let's call it like partner PR opportunities for the most part. And if we do, it's usually a very limited basis for those reasons. Does that answer the question?
Yeah,
It does.
Cool.
Yes.
Most definitely. Thank you, Nils.
But you have some good molecules coming out soon, so be ready. Get ready.
I can't wait.
I did buy another primer moisturizers in the closet.
Amazing.
I just ran out of my cleansing bar soap. I literally have 3 chips, like literal chips, and I'm like,
that's
I
a
love
good
that
bar.
stuff.
Yes. I saw Mel somewhere in the comments. She was like, she loves the niacinamide toner.
Oh, that's one of my
Yes.
favorites.
Yes, I don't see the comments.
The overnight exfoliating treatment was the first product that made me fall in love with the brand. Like I was
Yay.
like, this just replaced my $90 exfoliator.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Yeah, it's great.
And we're removing the essential oils in that, so you will basically have no essential oil in the exfoliator or the super peptide going forward. So we're taking feedback and acting on that to improve the product based on feedback. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Chelsea,
Oh, is it me next?
it's you.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I'm just like,
Number 4.
You're like,
okay, so how do you decide which brands to carry, and how can brands apply to be sold on your website?
That is a great question. It changes with time. So like one thing I talked about was just like holes in our assortment, like where are we missing products that we need to, build out. And then I was talking to Kelsee earlier. So I think there's kind of like 2 approaches. One, we're always looking for people that have a gift or something special. And on Beautylish, when we started with the independent makeup artist and brands. Like one of our first partners was the makeup artist, Billy B, who's amazing. We had his brushes. Wayne Goss, Natasha. We were one of the first with Charlotte Tilbury. We were the first with Bioderma, kind of officially in the US. Even Jeffrey was like early days. So we've been fortunate to find people with unique creative visions and, be lucky enough to partner with them. Danessa Myricks, finding those great independents is really the thing that gets us excited. The truth is, it's hard to find those people. Like finding a Natasha Denona, like that is the gold nugget. Like you're going across the ocean floor and you find somebody with that ability and that quality of product, and that's something really special. Or like Charlotte, that's like, Charlotte's bringing a movement of her product and like her vision, and she's such a powerful person in the marketplace. And so, on one hand, we're looking for those type of individuals, and then on the other side, we're filling in assortment and finding smaller creators. Like not everybody is going to be, a Charlotte Tilbury, for example, but we can still have great partnerships with those smaller brands that have great products and fill a niche or do something really well. So for us, it's like, okay, who is the creator? Number one, do we want to work with them? Do we think their products are great? And then thinking about like, where does it fit in our assortment? How widely available is it? So for example, like if you're sold at a lot of other stores, like an Ulta or drugstore or places that are very promotional, like on Beautylish, we try not to focus on discounting because eventually, like we can't make money if something is always getting marked down. Like we'll just never be able to pay our bills if it's, always on sale. So like the price integrity of the brand, and then thinking about like, what is the trend or wave that brand is riding that we think is compelling to bring it in are some of the things that we're really thinking about. Brands can reach out to us by email. They can email me directly. They can reach out to us on social media. And then they can also email brands@beautylish.com. So it's just brands with a S at beautylish.com and share their brand for consideration. We get an overwhelming number of people that reach out. So we're not able to even just reach back to everyone. And it's not like, oh, we're so great, we're just picky and we'll decide if we want to get back to you. but I mean, literally, it's like an overwhelming amount of people. There's no shortage of beauty brands in the world, right? It's like there's no shortage of makeup artists in the world. There's no shortage of musical artists in the world, but there is a shortage of greatness. And so, you know, we're always trying to figure out, like, where do you fit? How are you great in your own way? You know, and just continuing to build our brand assortment like that.
That was a word.
Yes,
There is a shortage of greatness.
Yes.
So would you say, Nils, that is very much influenced by carrying pro and artistry brands that are available to the beauty enthusiast?
Yes. I mean, we did hit a niche with some of the pro brands, also like pro brands that cross over. Let's say like RCMA, for example. RCMA has some really great products for your kit. They have a wide range of shade ranges and undertones. So if you're a professional makeup artist, you've got RCMA in your kit, and you know, they're amazing partners. And then, as I said, like, it could be like a Natasha Denona. And Natasha's probably in the States known more for like trend and like her colors and things that she does with her palettes. Like her eyeshadow palettes are her iPhone. But I don't think what people recognize so much is like Natasha in Israel is like the Sam Fine of beauty. Like she's like the legit doing the big magazines. Like she is the center, like one of the key makeup artists in the marketplace. She ran a school. She's trained so many artists. And, you know, I had the pleasure of visiting Israel before we launched with Natasha and just seeing her school. I mean, Natasha is like the real deal, hands-on in the studio makeup artist. And I was telling Kelsee this, like even her 28 palettes, when she created the 28 palette, which was kind of like, I think it was a little game changing because people didn't expect you could sell an eyeshadow palette for like $239, right? And we sold that thing out, like sold out. It was crazy. Right?
I remember
the brown and the purple green. Yep.
Yes, I love that.
I mean, Natasha, people were like, where did this come from? And she was just blowing out. It was like fire. But when she created those palettes, I think part of her logic with it was like, she has students and she wants you to be able to have all the, you know, the full color range in two simple palettes that you can fit in your kit. And when you look at how Natasha creates product, you can tell she's creating product from the point of view of a makeup artist. And that is really authentic to her. And as I said, like I've seen her school, she teaches, she does makeup, she does her own photo shoot, she does her own creative direction. Like Natasha is, you know, the real deal, like top to bottom artist, right? Charlotte Tilbury, in spite of just being known as kind of like glamour and red carpet and her celebrity friends, she is the real thing, makeup artist doing all the big shoots, traveling around the world, and working on so many of the famous faces that you see on magazines. So we're always looking, as I said, for like those type of artists, but we're also looking for people that have just found like, hey, this is where we fit in the world and we have something really great and special as well. And that could be as small as like, we have these nippers, like nail nippers for cuticles called Suwada. And Suwada is it's a Japanese tool company that just makes, they make basically like bush trimmers, and they make these nippers, like nail nippers. And it's like $100 just to trim your cuticles. But these things are like precision, like surgeon level precision, handcrafted in Japan. They're just something where you'd say like, I wouldn't pay more than $2 for that. And then you hold this and you use it and you realize like it's a game changer. It's like the Sonia G or Wayne Goss makeup brushes, right? When you get one of Wayne or Sonia's brushes, you realize like they're taking the brush game to another level. And now Wayne is starting to do that. You know, he started in with his brushes, best of class brushes, same thing. That is an iPhone for him. And now he's building out his beauty brand, you know, with the vision and perspective of a makeup artist, but also making it in a way that consumers can understand how to use the products and what works for them. Yeah, so those are a couple exciting people we're working with.
I love that. You all have a lot of hidden gems on your website. And that's what we were talking about earlier. I was like, I could just go on there and it's always something cool. It's like, whoa, what is that?
So try the Suwada nippers.
No.
You want to spend $100 to cut your cuticles.
I know. And it's like, I was looking at my
I know. I was like, I'm so overdue. Now it's like so when can we get our hands on that?
I mean, what's unfortunate is I think, and what I love about stores is that you can tell the story and you can feel it. Like when you see it, and that's what's hard online. It's like, well, why does black not sell as well online as it does in store? Because you can't differentiate black as well as like a fashion color online. When you see some of these things like a nipper online and it's $100, you're like, oh, like this is ridiculous. I can't really, it's like, how do you communicate that quality in that story? And that's always a challenge to be able to do that.
Awesome.
Friends, are we up to question number 5?
Yes, we are.
Amazing. I am 3 and 5, correct?
Correct. That's
Okay.
you.
Just making sure. All righty. Another highly anticipated question, fam. Okay. Will Beautylish implement a points system in the future? Will you all have more sales besides the gift card event?
Good question. Points has always been a tricky thing for us in trying to figure out like, well, what's right for our customers and what do we think? I think one of the reasons we procrastinated point systems is that most point systems suck. It's like you have them on an airline and you're like, I don't even want to fly your airline. Now you're trapping me into points. I don't want to use them. I don't want to redeem a point for a sample that I'm never going to use. It's like, how do we create a point program that's meaningful? And I know there's some where it's like, hey, points are cash. So basically what they're doing is saying, our products are worth less money. So we're just going to give you cash off in the form of points. There's some that you can redeem. And I think what we've struggled with is like, how do we create this so it feels like something meaningful and as special as we think some of the partners, you know, the partners that we're working with, how special their products are. And so rather than just applying points and discounting their products, which anybody can do, like a 5-year-old could create a discount program, we'd like to do something more thoughtful. So we are thinking about something that could maybe acknowledge like a spending level. And we've tried that in the past with Lucky Bags, where we said, hey, if you spent $1,000 over the course of the year, you would have first access to shop our kind of like our premium larger bags, which people seem to really want. But we don't have like a way, I think, to execute it today that we think it would best reflect our intention, but it is something that we're thinking about and we would like to do to reward our great customers, because all of you all have been great customers, for example. And we'd like to acknowledge that because we do appreciate it. Without, you know, customers like yourself, we wouldn't be here. The second thing is on discounts, just going back to the discount question or the sales. This year we did spring gift card. We have our fall gift card event. And we are doing some limited sales where it's like trend or something like a summer, like something seasonally to include some trend items. So we'll probably do a little bit of that. But for the most part, like, we're not as promotional as some other people. And I guess our perspective is like, we want merchandise that people want to pay for and that doesn't require just marking it down. But we do recognize like everybody appreciates the opportunity to save money, myself included. And so we think like the gift card was a good start for us. We've tried a few of these, like we did a spring sale about 3 weeks ago or so. So we are trying to come up with some limited events just to reward and show some appreciation to our customers as well.
Thank you. I love Beautylish and their customer service.
Thank you, Kelsee.
Yes, I've been advocating for you all for such a long time because you all customer service is just top notch. So my question to you is, how do you maintain?
Okay. I'll open them when I'm done. Sorry.
It's okay. How do you all maintain that level of customer service, impeccable customer service, might I add? From, you know, when I call, every time I call, everybody's always so chipper, to when I get my box, it's always packaged nicely. I've never gotten anything broken from you all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Other than the Natasha palette one time, the sunset. Thank you for the kind words. Really appreciate that. I'm lucky that we have an amazing team, because service starts with the person that's in charge of delivering that. And so starting from the top with Art, who is our director of customer service, and Melanie, who's kind of like one of his leads, and then all the way down through each one of our team members. It comes from finding people that pride themselves in delivering great service, and that comes from within. And that's actually, I think, probably the hardest thing to find is like, who's going to sound happy on the phone? Like, do you have a good outlook in life?
Right.
We're based in San Francisco. It's not always the best outlook for me personally, but you come in, it's foggy, you're down, and then you deal with someone. What you realize is, like, you're buying something special, and you have to put yourself in the position of the customer and realize, like, you saved money to buy that Wayne Goss brush set, right? Or that Natasha palette. Like, when somebody spends $239 on an eyeshadow palette, like, that's a serious investment on their part. And they deserve to have an amazing experience, just like if you were to walk into, a luxury store and buy a Gucci handbag or a new pair of shoes. And so I think it's just putting yourself in the customer's shoes. But again, it's, I'm fortunate that we have a great team, straight across the board that delivers that service. Oh.
I love that.
Me too.
Well, thank you so much, Nils. These are all of my, I saw someone ask a question a little bit earlier up thread, and they asked if you all would ever have a store. And let me see if I can find that comment.
I do have to read one of the most comical comments that I saw. Someone said, Nils, that you could sell water to the ocean.
Oh, yeah. Mo said that.
Agree to that.
I'm like, what, nail clipper? Let me go. I don't see that. Yes, they asked if you all would ever open up a store.
My background, like, I started in stores, and actually my first kind of good retail job was working at Bergdorf Goodman in New York. So I do love stores, and it's something we probably wouldn't be closed-minded to do, but we recognize, like, there's still a lot to do and improve on the site. And now, I don't know, like, post-COVID, like, what people's experience is going to be, like, what they're thinking about. Like, the challenge to us probably feels more like, how do you give people a good foundation match remotely, as opposed to, like, could I just put all my merchandise in these walls and, serve people here? And so I think we would probably put our effort, given the choice of, like, what does a future shopping experience look like without stores? Because a lot of young people, it's like, if you grew up buying records and going to the store on Tuesday, waiting for the new releases, right? That's like a cultural thing that you grow up with. Young people today are like, why would I go to a store?
It's
right?
an experience.
I remember HMV and Tower Records.
Listening stations with those dirty headphones.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I don't want to listen. I'm good.
In COVID, they would just rip all those headphones out. I miss that though. I miss Virgin on Times Square. I can't lie.
I know. That was a different time. It was more fun.
Yeah.
But those are all of our questions. Nils, did you have any questions for us? I didn't mean to put it on, but okay. Okay.
So obviously, like, this has been, and Kelsee, like, well, we've talked about this as a group, like, this has been a sensitive time for everyone. Inclusion is big. And so, I just want to thank you guys for having me on today, and learn kind of, like, I guess, two things. One, hear some feedback of, like, what you think retailers or brands can be doing better to be inclusive, because we're hearing a lot of things like sell Black brands, or is it skin tone, or, like, what is the thing? But I think it's kind of hard for people to cut through the noise a little bit and understand what you think some key issues are. And then the other thing I'd like to hear is what are skincare needs from in the Black community that Good Molecules could be addressing with product.
Okay. I think, Alicia, you got it.
Go ahead.
When it comes to skincare,
Take a note there, Alicia. So if you see me looking down, I'm right on note taking.
What? Thank you. I think I know for myself, I know I'm not the most deepest complected, but I do know the Black community undergoes hyperpigmentation issues, post-acne hyperpigmentation issues because of the melanin. And anytime there is a pimple left behind. Sometimes even if it's not tampered with, it will still leave a mark. So evening of skin tone, not lightening of skin tone.
Yeah.
Evening of skin tone, maintaining your actual skin tone, but getting rid of the darker spots and those hyperpigmentation scars, and also sunscreen that does not utilize titanium dioxide or zinc heavily as the primary filters. And I know Good Molecules is made in Korea.
That's
And I know Korean skincare technology is like light years ahead of the States, and they have really great sunscreen filters that uphold throughout the day a lot better, a lot longer, and could help our hyperpigmentation fade and not for them to get darker. So those are my suggestions for skincare.
Yep.
I think Alicia is the resident skincare up here.
I think she
like that's
all the nails in the head.
her. My feedback that I've gotten is more so about swatches and then just pictures and representation as far as darker skin tones. So for me, people look at my swatches and I think that they are helpful, but a lot of the feedback and comments that I got even when posing this question and answer is, can you all put darker or deeper skin tones swatches or just pictures of how products will look on someone with the deeper skin tones? So maybe Gabrielle Union, I don't know. Y'all have any more? Who?
Oh, and I'm literally drawing a blank.
I know I'm drawing a blank, but like just people with deeper complexions, like
Mac. Maybe have, for instance, for your pictures, have at least maybe 3 skin tones that could kind of show what the shades look like.
Yep.
Fair skin, light skin, maybe light medium, that's more than 3. But
I'd say at least 4. Yes, because a lot of
4.
times it's like light, medium, deep. And then from deep to medium is such a big jump. So I think people are needing that middle ground to see how it's going to look on them with a lot of products.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you think is doing it well right now?
Is doing it well?
No, I really don't.
I would say consistently, no. Fenty? Yeah, I would say Fenty. I like Fenty's because not only do they provide arm swatches, but whatever the product is, they actually put it on the face. So if it's an eyeshadow, you're also seeing the eyeshadow on various skin tones. If it's a blush, you're seeing the blush on various skin tones. And they may not have, 5 or 6 models per product, but you're able to really get a good idea as to, okay, I fall in this skin tone range, and this is what it looks like on the arm. This is also what it looks like on the face. I personally love also shade finders. So I don't know if that's something that you all could actually incorporate with your products, but having some type of suggestion factor or tool that would allow you to go, okay, I wear this shade in this foundation, and I know that this works very well with me. How does that compare to this? And I will say this, if you all didn't know, Beautylish will actually send you samples of any liquid product. And I didn't know that until I called you up. Let's raise the roof on that one. But I love that because online shopping is so difficult to shade match yourself with. So when I called you all and found that out, I was like, oh yes. And I think it's 4 or 5 samples that you can get that you all will send to you. And they send the samples fairly quickly too. So I was able to actually save myself money because I was looking at a foundation and I actually could not find a shade. And I was sent 3 shades and I was like, well, there's not a shade for me. So, money saved. I didn't have to waste a product by purchasing it and returning it. So I did want to say, I really love that about your company too, especially being a virtual shopping place.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard.
I'm sorry, Nils.
No, I was just going to say, like, one of the challenges with the photos sometimes is also there's like undertone. So you get a foundation, like, okay, well, what is the undertone? And we recognize like all Black women are not the same undertone, even though people just think like 10 shades of dark is like, they say, well, look how inclusive. It's just like as dark as you can go. And that's not as much the issue as also finding the right undertone, which is why I think the samples have been important to us. And we just want to give people, like, our goal with the sampling is we want to just get you to a point where you feel comfortable to make a purchase. I think the idea of like on face is important. We have done some of the shade finders in the past with Christine from Temptalia, and Christine works really hard to try and just align things so you can say, hey, if I'm a MAC shade something, what would that be in this other foundation, just so people can start figuring out like a starting point. And I think that's also something we could probably work on there.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just highlighted BRIT Clarke's
Yep, those 5. Yep.
Yes.
I wrote that down. Thank you, Britt.
Hi, Britt. For you.
I think that's definitely good. Fair, light, medium, tan, dark, deep dark. So that would be perfect.
Yes. All right, guys. Oh, Nils, I'm sorry. Do you have any more questions for us?
Those were 2 that are top of mind.
Okay.
Let's take some questions.
Yes, let's take some questions. So I saw a lot of you all have questions. So now it's the time to ask. Here's a good one. Beautylish, do you do a box subscription? Or no, you don't, but are you open to doing a box subscription?
I think, again, it's kind of like the points, the boxes were so hot for a minute. And then we're like, well, what would we add unique to that? We are thinking about some ideas that could include a box component. So I think that there could be something there in the future. It's been a matter of like, when something is hot, like when the first sample boxes took off, everybody want to make a sample box. And usually what happens is like someone has something that's a company will have something that's working or resonating, and then people will try and copy it. And for us, it's more kind of goes back to like what Chelsea was talking about, like, oh, I was able to try foundations to figure out my shade. It's like, let's figure out what can we do to add value. If we do it, not simply, okay, they have a box, we have a box, where we're just trying to do the same thing as someone else.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fafa said, maybe Beautylish could offer samples and online consultations for products that need to be accurately matched in order for the experience to be worthwhile.
I totally agree with that, Fafa. I totally agree. We do offer consultations, but I think we don't push that forward enough. Like what you were saying, Chelsea, like, hey, did you know you could get samples? People don't know that. And we just have done a very poor job of messaging that and making it known. But I think that's a great idea, Fafa. I agree. And we just need to formalize it a little better. I think everyone is thinking like in this COVID kind of environment, like, okay, I can't go into stores anymore. Like, well, how am I going to find the matches or figure out what's good for me? And the online consults are, kind of like your first best option, probably.
You can really go ahead, Chelsea.
I was just going to piggyback on it and say that I've actually had a couple, and you all do a really great job. So the person that I spoke with, I told her, this is what I normally wear in this, shade. And they were like, great. And I mean, within minutes, she was able to pull up other shade finders, and she's like, okay, I think those would be your closest ones. And I mean, I just really felt like I got a very personable one-on-one experience. And so you all definitely should push that more because people don't know. And had I not called, I wouldn't have known either. Now I'm always like, Beautylish, hey, how are you doing?
I know.
So I've got a question.
And they actually text too, because I have a really great relationship with my SA from Beautylish. She texts me all the time. It's like, hey girl, I'm adding this to your cart. I'm like, okay, girl.
Yeah.
So,
I like that. What do you think in terms of product category? What do you think the primary categories for consult would be? Or maybe Fafa, if you have, when you're talking about the consultations, do you have any specific categories that you want to see that for? Or does anybody else have areas that they think consults would be, like basically foundation, concealer? That's kind of like the top categories.
Even when stores open, and I think someone highlighted this point prior, the whole sample thing might change. Even
it's already changed.
I went to Sephora today, and they can't even pour you a sample.
Wow!
So they took
capitalize on it, friend,
and they put it on a palette, and they just smeared it, and then held it up next to me so I could try to see what it looked like on me. And sure enough, I bought the foundation. Shade is wrong. And I was like,
I love how hardcore you are in COVID. She's out there. Sephora open, mask on. I'm going in.
Mask
on. Get that mask.
Yes. So it is so hard. I feel like that. I mean, I am a sample girl. I love samples. So I think it's something that we all need. and we're not getting it right now, except from companies like you all who are able to send those via email. I mean, via mail, not email.
Wouldn't that be nice if we could get samples via email? Like, oh, okay, thank you for the email. Let me just.
I think it's a great opportunity to really, expand on that experience, right? Like, what's your celebrity match, or send a photograph, or even like a video of someone similar in your skin tone applying a foundation product or concealer product. Dare I say bronzer too? I'm a bronzer hussy, and like figuring out sometimes what bronzer shade's going to work. And with the online buying, and I think it just skyrocketing over the course of a few months, people are going to heavily rely on that to figure out what their,
Z Happy said, could you do live swatches of pictures and videos? So to do swatch comparisons. And I know that a few websites will do that. Well, really, the main website I know that does that is ASOS. So they're not makeup, but they're clothing. And so they'll have a picture of the clothing, and then you can slide it over and you can see a photo of the person walking and turning around.
Walk or something. Yeah.
Lip Bar also does that as well, I think, Kelsee.
Who does?
Lip Bar. They have videos of models applying the foundation as well as their 4-in-1 face palettes.
Yes, that is awesome.
Black-owned brand, hashtag.
That's it.
She said, skincare consultations from a Beautylish esthetician.
That's good.
That would be good.
I like that.
Michelle said, have you thought about how to help people over 40? It would be great to see swatches on older skin. Would love to see recommendations from an older crowd.
We've done that in the past, and that's a great question, Michelle. Only people over 40 I'm helping right now is myself. Number one. I'm just kidding. We have shot in the past like a range of models where we've taken kind of like influencers or normal people, if you will, to have a full age range to show, like, for example, like how foundation sits, how it makes your skin look. But I think that's a great point. And we definitely, all this kind of goes back to inclusivity, because it's easy. Like, what's hard running a company is you're so busy in the moment, you're forgetting about all the people you're leaving out of the experience. If it's some age demographic or different background, or someone that just has a different experience than someone else. But I think that's a great suggestion, Michelle. Appreciate that.
Mariah said she wants the exclusive. Do you have any new brands coming that you can tell us?
God, Mariah. We got a couple things working right now, Mariah. I don't have something that I can confirm for you today, but we do have a couple in the luxury sector that we're really excited about. And then we're also working with one smaller creator that hopefully we'll have as well. So kind of a balance, again, like a balance. And then categorically, we're going to try to break into like one new category as well that hasn't really been strong on Beautylish. So there's going to be a lot of growth across like segment, category, and creator as well.
Awesome. Someone said, well, S. Mullen
Silky.
There we go. Please talk more about the mentorship program that you mentioned on Good Molecules' Instagram. Great
question. So, when we went through kind of like the post George Floyd and just talking about like our plan as, we look to be diverse and inclusivity, we mentioned one of our things being, and you talked about it earlier, Kelsee, okay, PR, going out to a range of influencers. We're going to do that, making sure we're inclusive on photos. But one of the things, and this kind of goes back to the hiring actually that I didn't talk about, is that, when you look at like an executive level, executives in the market are kind of like a product of an earlier education and career pipeline, if that makes sense. Meaning, like, if I was to hire an executive from another company, they've already come up over years within that company for me to get them, and there's fewer people. The best people in Beautylish have actually started kind of like from the ground up. And so our idea, and kind of going back to being more inclusive on hiring, is to create a mentorship program, which we're doing within Good Molecules, to recruit younger girls or guys that are interested, and give them practical training and experience that can then hopefully give them skills that they can use in another company or grow into a role at Beautylish. And so the widest part of our pipeline to find more Black employees or non-Black, just anyone that's good, actually comes from helping mentor or get more people in at a younger level and being able to provide training, give them an opportunity to have impact and their voice to be heard. And so the mentorship program will be kicking off this fall. And we're going to probably target actually a little bit younger than we have with a traditional internship, just so we can really empower them, you know, in the program. But we're going to be starting that in the fall, and we're excited to share more details on that as it unfolds.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Amazing. Nils, has Beautylish ever thought about having a dedicated customer service rep assigned to someone when you set your account, so you have a go-to person that you know, like a personal shopper? I basically have a personal shopper. What's up, Alexis, girl?
If Alexis is watching you right now, she'll be smiling. The challenge, we started off like that actually, and there was a couple challenges. One was when people, and that's a great question. One was when people were off, who's going to help me? And so it was kind of like you would find that people were orphaned a little bit if their shopper was away. And we had that happening with text. It's like if you're texting with someone and then it just stops and then it picks up like 18 hours or 2 days later, you don't rely on it anymore because it's not so solid. And so that's where we kind of went back to a pooled program, meaning like shared people across customers. But I think everyone, like you're saying, Kelsee, like you develop a personal shopper relationship and, you know, it grows on you, and it becomes really more helpful because they understand your needs more closely than just you know, one of many that might be there to serve. So I think it's something that we need to explore, like, are there some ways to bring it back? But we don't have a specific action plan in place at this time to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
great question though.
You can reach out to Alexis. she will keep you updated. Okay, so I have one more, and this one is for us, Alicia and Chelsea. So Tesla. Hey Tesla.
Hey, Tesla.
So we share why we love Beautylish and share our favorite brands and products. So I'll go first. So like I said, I love the luxurious experience that Beautylish gives because I love luxury. And so with beauty, it's always something that has worked for me. And I always feel like I'm right at home in the makeup industry. And with luxury and buying it online, I was kind of apprehensive about doing it at first. But once I started shopping at Beautylish, I've been shopping there nonstop. So I love that everybody's so personable. I can always get a response as long as you all are open, and I've never had a bad experience. And some of my favorite products that you all sell, definitely Natasha Denona, Tom Ford. I buy Sonia G all day, every day, and for sure Wayne Goss. So,
and you killed it with the Wayne Goss lip, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Okay, Alicia.
Well, I'm going to come up with another word besides blame. I'm going to attribute Beautylish to my current food day obsession. And
I like that.
And it all started with Wayne Goss. That was my first major Japanese brush purchase. And it was a wrap from there. And then I saw you guys sell Chikuhodo. And to have Chikuhodo on a site like Beautylish just makes for a seamless buying experience. And I understand that it's hard to have the entire line available, because I see in the comments, people are like, where's the Fox brushes? Where's like the Kyoto? Well, Kyoto's a different line. And I understand how it could be difficult, but definitely Chikuhodo, Sonia G. I also love that you carry Tom Ford, especially when you have that payment program.
The 3 payments.
Okay.
Flexible payments at checkout.
Okay.
Yes.
And also, I know Ray Morris changed her brushes, but I was able to get the set during the sale. It was like the last of her natural hair brushes.
Oh wow, that was a good
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah, so
And
that
Ray
was
has great shapes. Like her brushes are really great
Yes.
shapes. She's good.
exactly. So I have to say a lot of the brush brands that you carry are my standout favorites, and it's like I can't stop. It's a wrap. I'm done. Oh, I'm sorry. Vicky J also. Hi, Vicky J. I think this is a question that you might have answered, but to carry a hair care line that, yes, thank you.
Yes, Vicky J, that is a great question. And that was one. Now that was a spoiler like category that we're just missing. So in the works. Be ready.
We'll be looking out for it.
We will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Chelsea, you didn't get to go.
Oh, okay. So customer service, impeccable. Like I said earlier, the fact that I can call you all,
Bye,
get
Bria.
samples, and really be treated like my money is valued there, because I feel like you don't always get that experience with places that have more luxury based brands. I love that you do carry those brands, that you ship very quickly, and also splitting the payments up into 3 makes it a lot easier. My first purchase was the Natasha Denona Gold palette, and I remember like saying I could never spend $129 on a palette, but then I was like, but if I break that up, I'm not paying that all at once. It just helped me sleep a little better at night. Some of my favorite brands: Charlotte Tilbury, Tom Ford, Wayne Goss. And I'm just glad that someone told me about Beautylish, because now you're absolutely one of the main places that I'll go to. Or sometimes I will only go to you all for a product just because I know I'm going to get the best quality experience from your company. So very happy
so much for the kind words.
Yeah.
I mean, we're blessed because we have great partners and we're only as good as our product. I mean, looking at like the brushes, like Wayne, Sonia, Ray Morris, they all bring a different perspective to just brushes. And I think that's an example of people overlooked that category a little bit with like luxury brushes.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how big it is. If you just do it really well and you do it the best, it can feel like it can change how you feel about just something simple like a brush, right? So that's where it goes back to finding the creators. And that's probably the biggest challenge, is that, you know, I'm sure there's people now watching that are making brands, and it's like, or you want to make a brand. It's thinking about, you know, how are you doing something different and making something really great? Like, we're a store that's nothing without great merchandise and great partners, right? Like, if Natasha didn't bring out amazing palettes, or Wayne or Jeffrey has something, or any of the other people, Charlotte Tilbury, like, what are you going into that store for? So we're just lucky that we have, you know, great partners. And sometimes I know we make mistakes. We are smaller than people think. Like, we're not a big corporation like that other San Francisco beauty company is. If we do make a mistake, you can reach me. I fail on email sometimes because I do get a lot of email. I put it out there, Nils at Beautylish. The feedback and the conversation is something I really appreciate. And as I said, and Kelsee and I talked earlier about, like, especially in times like this, we don't always know the right things to do. We're going to make mistakes. But having a conversation and a dialogue, like, I look at it and I say, like, if the person running this country right now would take time to listen, maybe we wouldn't have so much friction and we could work together better, right? So for us, it's like been super valuable, and I really appreciate the forum today to connect, because just listening and hearing everyone's voices and ideas, you know, it went from being like overwhelming to like, we're so energized right now from the ideas, and I have my list of paper with all my notes, and just the feedback that's been coming in over the past 10 days with, you know, around inclusivity and what we could be doing better. You know, like, you take a few hits, but we're coming out better for it as a community. And I hope that's where, you know, like, some of the things you guys talked about, like, okay, you have good customer service, you have some good brands, like, that's earned over time. And I hope on this whole inclusivity issue, like, a data point, data is not trust, right? Like, here's how many Black employees I have. Here's how many Black creators I have. That is not the same as you trusting and knowing, like, no, you do have great Black brands. You do have Danessa Myricks. You do have Briogeo. You do have whoever we might work with next, right? Like, we have to earn that. So past all of this noise where people are trying to like put up or shut up, it's going to come down to like internalizing it and doing the things to earn trust from the community. You know, and that's just on us as a brand, and having this kind of open feedback and communication, and also some bandwidth for understanding if I don't reply, or, you know, if we don't get it right the first time, you know, it's not intentional. And so I just appreciate everybody's kind of understanding, because it does feel a little stressful. Like, when you don't have the resources to do everything you want to do, we're just going to try our best. But your opinions and voice and taking time to share means so much, because your feedback informs my decisions to help make our company better, right? To get those darker skin tones, or get those unique brands in the marketplace, finding them, or giving featuring, or the consultations. It just really means a lot. So, you know, we're all super appreciative at the company, you know, for the feedback and understanding. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Nils, for joining us. I really
Thank you guys.
appreciate it. And thank you so much to Kinky Sweat and GlamGirlChelsea.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really do
And
appreciate
thank you to Brittany also. I'm going to shout out.
Thank you, Brittany.
Brittany, who was
This
unable
is all-
to be here today, but she was the one who facilitated this. She made the connect with Nils, and she connected us all together. And special thanks to Brittany. So
Yes,
She's connected. She's given great feedback also during kind of some of the turmoil. So I'm super appreciative to that. So thank you.
for sure.
And a huge thank you to our moderators, fam.
yes,
Yes,
The real ones.
thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
keeping
much.
me alive during this last
Yes.
hour. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you guys. And if you guys want to check out Beautylish, I will have a link to their website in the description box, as well as Nils' email address. But like you said, he gets a lot of emails, so it may take a
I
while.
will try to email. Like, I am on email, but it's like there's pockets. Like, even during COVID, the founders, myself, Vu, and Samir, were like packing boxes in a warehouse for like almost a month and a half straight, because we just couldn't get people in to help ship everyone's order. We couldn't get enough people. So I don't know if people know, like, sometimes we run it a little lean. You know, it's like you do what you have to do. So thanks again for the understanding.
Thank you all. Everybody have a good night. And check out my girl Kinky Sweat and GlamGirlChelsea. I have links to their channels down below. But thank y'all for joining us. And thanks again.
Thank you guys.
Smooch
Thank you,
eyes.
Nils. Have a good one.
Thanks, Kelsee.
Bye.
Bye, Alicia. Hi,
y'all.
Kelsee.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.